Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Let's talk a couple of minutes about foreign policy, taking relatively short shrift. Geithner was rebuffed at the G20 finance ministers in South Korea. This plan to try to limit surpluses, export the depression to the surplus countries. That's, of course, China and Germany. So that's going nowhere. Financial system continues to drift, and some more dramatic events quite possible between now and the end of the year or early next year. But 1.5 quadrillion of toxic, tighted, bankrupt derivatives are still sitting there. The crisis of Obama after the election, Obama's leadership, of course, will be attacked. His failure to stand up for the Rhode Island Democratic candidate for governor in a state which counts for something. He will be assailed. He provided no political cover for the various members of the congressional delegation. He doesn't talk about fraud closures except to defend the banks. He has not a word about the capital strike, the systematic economic sabotage of the U.S. Economy by these reactionary interests. So he's not giving them any cover at all. There will be tremendous resentment, and the Democratic caucus will be shorn of a lot of these blue dogs and will shift to the left. Now, what left means, of course, is always the question. Will it mean the cap-and-trade monstrosity and the lunacy of global warming, the hatred of science, technology, and progress, or will it be something more like working-class interests, working people's needs, and the New Deal? Open question. Obviously, premise is not so great, but always worth fighting. And remember, the Democratic primary is not an end in itself. It's a way to influence things. It's really the only way, in many cases, to run for office, since the third party in many states is so difficult to do. So the action is likely to emerge through the Democratic primaries. At this point, we've got these secret Afghan peace talks going on. Obama, for his own narrow political reasons, his own shopkeeping reasons, wants to begin a token withdrawal from Afghanistan by next July. This is now getting quite close. There will be a Lisbon meeting of NATO in a month or so where there will be a rebellion about this. France has it announced. This is Sarkozy trying to get reelected, but fine, we'll take what we can get. France says that they will be leaving Afghanistan. The British are in the process of getting ready to leave. The Dutch leaving, or left actually. Canada will leave. So the coalition is crumbling, and this will also make Obama look bad. What's he going to do? The Pentagon and these neocon reactionaries, the Petraeus clique, will be demanding that he stay, and he's going to want to go. They're going to be saying their own program, and Obama will be recommending his. We send our condolences to Argentina. Nestor Kirchner, the former president of Argentina, currently had been the principal advisor to his wife in the presidency of Argentina. Somebody who fought the International Monetary Fund, fought them successfully, lived to tell the story. Somebody who would not accept IMF shock therapy and so forth, led Argentina into a successful post-debt moratorium situation and was able to make the IMF pay through the nose. I would say Kirchner succeeded in cutting the foreign debt of Argentina by about half. That's all illegitimate debt, or most of it. Now died suddenly. He was Secretary General of an organization for Latin American unity with the participation of Venezuela and Brazil, and we mourn his passing. This was somebody who we should have had around for quite a while. So what the actual details of the death are, I do not know. The other one we have to look forward to now is Tariq Aziz, former foreign minister, deputy prime minister of Iraq, has now been condemned to death by a kangaroo court of assassins in Iraq, and we call for the freeing of Tariq Aziz, a person of character. He is a Chaldean Catholic, I believe, local religion, which is loyal to the Vatican. He's was a fan of the unauthorized biography of George Bush, published in 1992. You may remember Tariq Aziz standing up to the thuggish James Baker III in that fake negotiating session in Switzerland in late 1990, when the dignity of Tariq Aziz compared to the hooliganism of James Baker III impressed the world. So all of this going on, we have to think about the dynamics inside the Republican Party. There is motion towards Christie. This is disturbing. This would be a strong man. This would be a union-busting, ruled by decree, openly dictatorial, extreme reactionary to fascistoid regime. Christie, as I said before, has just clashed with the head of the New Jersey Teachers Union. I don't know whether he physically threw her out of his office, but she was ejected from the government office in Trenton. His entire approach is union-busting, social chaos, and at the same time, he is successfully so far sabotaging the most important single infrastructure project in the northeastern United States, which is rebuilding the Amtrak line from Boston to New York, going through Connecticut, many cities there served, across into New Jersey, into Philadelphia, Delaware, Wilmington, Baltimore, and then District of Columbia, and of course it really should go all the way to Florida, although that's not quite on the drawing board yet. Key point of that, obviously, is that tunnel under the Hudson River. This Hermann Goering wannabe, Chris Christie of New Jersey, this thug, this bully, is attempting to intimidate the unions, and of course he has fought against a millionaire's tax on his rich cronies. The Republicans want to run him. We will go into a phase of acute class struggle because that is what he represents. He represents a class attack on working people, and he does it on the basis of being a goon in the White House. Is that what you want? You want to go from the effete snob Obama to the goon Christie? No, we do not want it. So we're here to warn against this. I think the Petraeus option still remains most prominently on the table, but there's also Christie. So we have to also think the implications of the Christie policy for the Republicans. I'm just listening again to this Northern Virginia congressional debate where Finian or whatever his name is, Fithian's Rainbow, is also against building infrastructure. He doesn't want modernization of rail lines. He doesn't want to pay for extending the Washington, D.C. metro to Dulles Airport, one of the most obvious and long-needed reforms for decades. People have been wondering, why is it we can't get the subway to go to the airport, which every city in Europe would have as an automatic feature of normal life? They're against it. So these people are going to try to sabotage the one thing that could get you out of the Depression, which is an ambitious program of infrastructure building. And, of course, you don't have to tax anybody to do this. That's the one thing that I add to this that is not generally understood. You don't need to do it on budget. If it's a capital budget, what you do is force the Fed to provide 0% credit to finance it. 50-year maturities, 0%, and you can pay for it with tiny nominal user fees over that time. You'll get an economic recovery. We'll be back in a minute.